Hi everyone, it's Sister Folk and welcome to your optional video critique. I will be doing about 10 video critiques tonight, but first of all I wanted to say a few things that apply to almost all of the drafts that I've seen pop up on Facebook so far. Okay, so I want to make sure to encourage you to read over the minimum expectations. You need to make sure you have a specific brand for your product. That includes a logo, okay? When you upload your logo, try to make sure you upload it with a transparent background so you don't have any awkward colored shapes that you're placing on top of your design. Second, I've seen a few ads that only have one image, so you need to make sure you have 2+ images, so at least 2, if not more, that are blended and that work together to make a message that's symbolic. If you're confused about what that means, take a look. As part of the assignment, it has up here some professionally done creative ads on Pinterest. These are really good examples of symbolic visual meaning. So like a paintbrush with hair coming out of it means that you're painting your hair a particular color. Or this, I don't know, shoot with a swing on it means something is being communicated visually that we could figure out if we clicked on this and read about it. Okay, so this is a cool representation too of buckling up to protect your spine. Okay, so something like that with symbolic visual communication. This is another part a lot of people are missing. For your written content, you must have 3 things: a headline, body copy, and a call to action. Make sure you have all 3 of these, okay? If you only have a headline and a logo, you need to add more content to your ad, okay? And then you will be designing 2 separate ads that are different sizes. So they're part of the same campaign. They look like they're the same design, essentially, but they have a different layout that works for the medium and works for the specific size. Like for example, this one is smaller, these are bigger, okay? So make sure you have if you turn all of this in and it had absolutely no design virtue whatsoever, you would still get a 70%. So make sure you do that, okay? Let's go ahead and just remind you really quick, I am seeing a lot of fonts that make me cringe. Please vary your font selection by going to dafont.com. I know you guys don't know which fonts are the ones that have been around for forever and have been used 20 times every semester for 20 years. So I can't fault you for not knowing, but just go with one that's more traditional and then choose one that is looking more contemporary or more interesting. Don't just play it safe with the default fonts that you could find in Microsoft Word any day of the week, okay? So that will hopefully help everyone. We'll go ahead and get started with the critiques now. If you have any questions about your critiques, you can send me an email and I'd be willing to clarify, but hopefully this will help you start heading in the right direction for finalizing your ads that are due later in the week. All right, Jada, let's go ahead and take a look at yours. Let's see. I was wondering if having the company logo on the actual Sharpie was enough. I need to have the Sharpie logo. You do need to have the Sharpie logo, so you definitely want to keep that there because this is essentially just your product. Okay, so this is looking good. I like how you have a nice strong alignment here. These are kind of taking up the same amount of pages. You have probably 3 images blended together, which looks really good. The only thing I will say is I think if I remember on your draft critique, you said that you were using Edwardian script, and you've actually made it look really nice with this kind of faint, light, and tight drop shadow. So I would leave it in this case if you want to and if you really like it, but generally that is one that does get a lot of use as well. But you've made it look really good here. So keep it if you love it, but don't be afraid to play around a little bit too. You do need some kind of call. Yes, got it. Buy Sharpie permanent markers today. Yeah. Sorry. It's getting late. The later it gets, the more you have to bear with my vocal impersonations. So, okay. It's looking good. I think though you have most of the things that you need. Let me just remind myself if there's any part that I think you could kind of work on. You have the 2 sizes, 3 different things, 2 blended images. Nope, you're heading in the right direction. The only thing that initially stands out to me is this font, but it looks good even though it's one of the ones that generally I recommend not using. Also, there's not a real strong color scheme. Maybe it's just the blue and the red, and they work well together because they actually, this pops against this. So I'm okay with that. I don't know, it might be kind of fun if you could get this Sharpie. I would probably put the Sharpie down here. I think it looks a little bit weird just floating up in the sky. Right bottom is usually a pretty safe place to put your logo. But maybe play around with the color of these lines. It might look better dark. It looks a little bit hard to read this size. Or maybe just make them a little bit bigger so they go farther across the page like your other ones did. All right, a good start, Jada. I look forward to seeing what you come up with. Okay, let's see who is next. AJ, you are next. Perfect. You had Sharpie too. Lovely. Okay, so here's your logo, Sharpie, making things a little more obvious. Clever. You did a really good job with the symbolic visual meaning. I like that you have this kind of creative font that you're using. You don't have any real contrasting font though, so I might try to add some contrasting typeface in here. These, I bet you, maybe you selected this one because it looks similar to this one. And if that's the case, let's consider these one font and then add a little bit of a contrast. Also, you have your, okay, good. You have your call to action. You have your blended images with 2 or more. So I think you're definitely heading on the right track. This is a tagline. This is the call to action. What was the other thing that you needed? Body copy, I think. So that's your nearest office supply store. I don't know, even though you don't necessarily have body copy, it seems like this is enough to me. So if you can think of something additionally you would want to communicate, I think it would be okay to add it in. But I also think that your call to action is a little bit longer and your headline is a little bit longer, so I'm okay if you want to keep it the way it is. Usually you do want your logo recurring again because this is technically part of your headline. And so I would probably put this maybe down here, kind of left aligned. Oh, it would be nice to maybe have this in complete alignment because it's bumped over a little bit, but not enough to make it real intentional. So I would probably move this to the left so it's in perfect alignment with this edge of your Sharpie. And then maybe you could have the other Sharpie logo right beneath it to kind of bookend, a vertical bookend for your call to action, okay? But you're heading in the right direction. I really like it. I might make this stroke a teeny bit less thick, your white stroke here. I think that would maybe help a little bit. Okay, but I really like where you're going. Strong ad and concept behind it. Okay, Wookie, let's take a look at yours. Did you upload a few? These are 2 of my work. Okay, so let's see. Okay. I'm not sure which one you're going to turn in. I like these a lot. I'm not sure. What are your 2 images you blended? Maybe the pen? The book? I don't know. Make sure you have 2 images that are blended together. You may have just done a great job of blending them, and I don't know. But if these are not 2 separate images, make sure that you're following that because you do have to have 2 images blended together. Okay, and then I love your concept. This is really, really cool. I mentioned this in your draft critique, but all order you need doesn't make verbal sense really, and so I would probably say all the order you need. Okay, So that would make it a little bit more grammatically correct. I love your typefaces though, super strong, really, really good fonts. And you have the logo here. Organizers are the best. Make sure you have a call to action, buy one today. But this is definitely heading in the right direction. Okay, I'm just going to post that on your page right now. Okay, so let's look at your second one. Maybe you're trying to decide between them. This is the same call to action. Oh, and you probably put these vector images over this background image, so that's cool. Are the best. Good. All order you need in your doors. I think I maybe like the other one a little bit better. This one feels a little bit more busy. Conceptually, it's really good, but if you decided to go for it, I might look for a more simple background in the desk. Maybe just an all white background with, you know, like a solid background. Or maybe you could eliminate this background. But I mean, it's the Oval Office, so you don't really want to take away anything from it. And I actually think it's clever that you have the president's desk as this one that's super organized. So it's a good idea. It just does make it a little bit busy. You could perhaps make your logo smaller and make your logo kind of live in this space, and then it would maybe give you a little bit more white space. And then it looks like you have a transparency on top of a transparency. There's a kind of weird line here, which doesn't look like it's intentional. So I would make sure this is all one transparent box instead of what looks like it could be two. Okay. Oh, and here's a line here too. So I'm not sure what's going on with the background, but this is a really good ad idea. I think I might just like the other one a little bit better because it's a little bit more straightforward and allows for a little bit more white space on the page, but both are good and I could see you making either work. So just keep on playing around. Remember, alignment needs to be a best friend. So since this cool, clever tagline is not aligned within itself or with anything, you're gonna have to make sure this is aligned strongly and your logo perhaps is aligned over here with a strong left alignment to give your eye a little bit more space, okay? So both of these ads, I think you could work on alignment just a little bit more so things are nice and tidy. And like this logo, maybe it should be placed down here, aligned with the edge of these, okay? So it helps your eye have a place to rest and it makes that I like either one. I'm excited to see your final tweaks and your final product. Okay, thanks, Wookie. All right, Allison, you didn't request one. Let's see. Nicole, nope. Nope. Michelle, yes. All right. Laura can't stop laughing at your ad. That's a good sign. Treat yourself. It's funny. I don't know if you watch Parks and Rec, but it makes me think of that. Okay, treat yourself. Some toilet paper. All right. So the first thing that I'm thinking is I agree with Laura, and I actually mentioned this in your draft critique. I think the red looks kind of weird, this floating red banner, because it's not a real red banner. It doesn't go off the edge of the page. And so it's a little bit visually confusing. And so I would probably remove this and make sure the edge of this goes off the edge of the page because that would look really cool. That could look like an actual banner is above her in the air that says this. And the second thing is your slogan is a little bit too close to the edge of this transparent box. And this being darker and lighter, they don't really work well together. And so I don't love that they're different colors. I'd prefer you probably get rid of all of the all the red transparent boxes in the background, but if you need to keep them for it to be legible, I would at least get rid of this one. And then this would probably, I would probably make it a more red, like her shirt, instead of this pink color. And then I don't love this font. It's been around for a long time too. So I would play around and try to find something different. These really don't contrast that much. They're both, well, this isn't a super strong serif, but there is a little bit of an angle there. And it kind of has a little bit more of a feeling of a serif. And so even though it's not a super strong one, I would probably try to find something that contrasts it even more. And so maybe you do a neat script or something, okay? So if you do that, then just make sure you've earned it, and for every celebration use Charmin are aligned, because this is going to be not aligned, okay? So that would be bigger, treat yourself, but then you've earned it, and for every celebration use Charmin are going to be nice and tidy, aligned from the top to the bottom, okay? And I'm missing a call to action, so I'd make sure, well, for every celebration, use Charmin. That feels, or Charmin, that feels a little bit more like a slogan than it does a call to action. But you could maybe tweak it a little bit so it feels more like a call to action, and then it would already meet the requirements of the assignment. And try to see if you can find this logo on a transparent background. This white box around it is giving me stress. If not, just open this as a separate image in Photoshop and delete the background in it, and then you can import it and place it into Photoshop. I think if you do it as a ping, it will allow you to keep the background transparent. Okay, so that would be nice. But you're heading in the right direction. It's also, this is a little closer to the right than it is to the bottom. See how these aren't aligned from the edge of the page, which would be really nice to have. But keep on working on it, play around with it a little bit more, heading in the right direction, strong idea. I just want to see a little bit more risk with the fonts, and then work on those transparent shapes in the background. Okay, thanks, Michelle. Okay, let's see, Yvette, you're next. Okay, do you have two? Oh no, this is just a critique. Okay. Just need to work on the text and put the logo on the pencil wherever it's needed. Yes. Okay. I'm glad you mentioned the text. This is definitely super rough. So remember, you need to have the logo for Ticonderoga. And then have a call to action too. And make sure there's some kind of an alignment, because right now it's feeling a little bit busy, and I'm not getting a real sense of structure. It might be nice if you could take out the brick in the background, because it is feeling really busy. Or find an image with someone sleeping on a bench where there's not this busy background. But if you just want to kind of do a selection of this, you could use a magic wand. That would maybe make it so it's not quite so much going on, because I have a feeling you're going to find a hard time. You're going to have a hard time figuring out where to place your logo, your call to action, and your body copy where it is right now. And so I would work on that a little bit. Also, kind of like Jada pointed out, I see this line here and this one here. So just try to make sure you're able to eliminate those. All right. So just keep on fine tuning. It is a cool idea. I like the concept, and the way that you blended them together is good. Just keep on working on it. And hopefully you'll be able to have a few things come together with the typeface and placing your logo on there. Okay. Thanks, Yvette. Let's see who's next. Leanne, I think you opted in. Yep, you did. Perfect. Right. So I can see even when it's tiny, both of these fonts are ones that are used a lot. So please change both of these. That's really going to help this feel more contemporary. Okay, I'm wondering if you did you blend 3 images? Flower, this, and that? Or was this an image and you just placed it on top of this one? Sent to water away even the coldest of winter storms. Okay, good. I like your idea. And you have all of the written parts that you need, which is really good. I might play around with the color a little bit. It looks kind of washed. Everything looks a little bit washed out to me. Like the background almost feels like it's grayscale. And then the hands look really icy gray blue. And so that could be your intent, but since the overall push is toward a product that feels like spring, I might try to make the hands more warm and the flower more warm, and even the background. It can still look cold, but not have such a frosty gray overall feeling. And then make sure you have alignment working to your advantage. Right now, there's not really any strong sense of placement. And so see how this starts at a different place than this one. These don't match up with this guy, and this is just sticking here. So maybe you have a really strong alignment that goes straight up, and everything matches with one line, and then the only thing that doesn't is spring. And spring is in a font like this or something, okay? So change out both of these. This one especially is used all over the place, and it's kind of like a little bit more juvenile feeling. And then this one is just old and it's been used in a lot of advertisements. So I would recommend switching both of those. And then try to find a Febreze with a transparent background so you don't have this awkward white box around your logo, okay? And I'm also noticing a little bit of a weird line here. I'm not sure what that is, but I would try to figure out what that is so you could make sure it isn't there anymore. Okay, so just keep on working on it, and especially your typefaces, having a strong sense of placement with alignment, and then maybe changing the feel of the color so it doesn't look like it's a black and white image with just a white or a pink flower on it. Okay, but I definitely like your thought process behind it. It's very creative. So I look forward to seeing where you go with it for your final project. Thanks, Leanne. Okay, Jack. Nope. Eva, nope. Rebecca. Wait, just have Nancy. Okay, Nancy, I mentioned this on your draft critique. It looks a little bit like this has been squished, like it's been squished down, maybe. These mountains don't look like they're proportional, like they were probably initially taller. So maybe grab this edge and hold shift and stretch it out this way toward the upper left and see if it gets a little bit better looking. Or actually, you don't want to hold shift because if you mushed it down, you'll need to fix that. So maybe grab it and pull it up a little bit and over to the left a little bit, maybe in like this direction, and see if it looks a little bit more realistic and not as much like it got mushed down. If you mushed it on purpose, you have a little bit more room to play around here. So be sure it matches the original and doesn't look so squished, okay? You got the logo in there, which is awesome. You have your body copy. You do need some kind of call to action. Well, go ahead and play. You could maybe consider that your call to action. If that's your intent, I would be okay with that. So just think that through. Usually call to action relates directly to the product, but if that is expressly your call to action in your mind, then just let me know that when you submit and kind of the reasoning behind that. I like your colors. I like how you selected yellow for this. I don't love your fonts. This one, it feels like it was just kind of a default choice. Let's see if there's a Duracell font. Nope. Thought maybe there would be a Duracell font on DeFont. Okay, so you have this one. So maybe try to find a font that's a little bit more like this and then go for something really extremely different here. It just feels a little like the really safe choice for the contrasting typography. Okay, it looks like you have alignment over here, maybe, but I might like to see this aligned over here too. When you have such a small ad, having one thing not aligned, maybe you're trying to have the light shine up on it. You could make the Duracell yellow, which would be kind of fun if your intent is that the light is shining up on the Duracell. That would be cool. And maybe you make this just a little bit smaller and keep it aligned with this. So I don't know. You have a few options. Just keep on playing around with it. It just needs a little bit more polishing, but you're heading in the right direction. Okay? So I look forward to seeing what you come up with, Nancy. Thanks for your submission. Okay. Let's see. I just have Rodney and Joseph and Annika left. Rodney, here you are. Okay. Okay, your concept is very fun. I really like it. I feel like you have a lot of fonts going on here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the brand can kind of be its own. It doesn't necessarily have to count as a font choice, but remember you need to have a maximum of 2 fonts. Well, you want to have 2 fonts contrasting. So say you want to go with this one, and then maybe you need to keep competition this, or you need some diversity this one or that one. Okay, that will help. Another thing that other people have been running into as well is they are kind of stopping an image where there's no natural break. So what you want to do is you need to come up with either a reason besides just a color that this image is cut off in the air, or you need to pull it down so it fills the space. So if you want, you can grab right here, you know, hold shift, make it proportionally larger. It would pull a little bit of the back out of the page, but that might be okay. And then this bottom could be along here. And then you could blend. If you're going to do this kind of blend, I might make it even longer so it makes it look like the wall is behind this, because it does look a little weird that your toilet paper roll is just mounted on this colored background as opposed to the image background. So it might be a good idea if you have more image you can play around with, or you can use the add extra space and do a content aware fill for this in order to stretch it out across the image, and then placing this on that background would make a lot more sense. Okay, so if you did that and you decided to make the image go long, then this could just be like a colored box on the bottom, which I would be fine with. I think it just looks weird to have the greenish teal over here with a straight line and then a kind of feathered effect that bleeds out over here. So having both of them creates kind of a weird, confusing idea in your brain of what's going on in this image. So if you're able to do a content-aware fill and pull the image farther over here, then you wouldn't necessarily need to pull the image down as well. You just kind of need to do one or the other so it makes sense what's happening with this picture from a visual perspective. Okay, I really like that you have the logo here on a transparent background. That looks really nice. And you have your body copy in. Make sure you also include some kind of call to action. So wipe out the competition by purchasing Cottonelle or something like that. Okay. So let's see. I look forward to seeing what you come up with. Also, is the U, is there a color, like it looks really pink down here. So maybe you did a magic, or you did an eyedropper to select this color, but I would probably try to make this color more red and this more red too. Right now it looks pinky, which is kind of weird. I think red would look better with the contrast of the Y, the blue Y and the blue Cottonelle logo. Okay, So I look forward to seeing what your final project looks like, Rodney. Thanks for turning it in here on Facebook. Okay, Annika, let's check out yours. Second to last. Okay. Use period. Can you add a period for me? Okay, I like your colors. I definitely like what you've done here. Did you find this or did you do it? What are the two images that you blended? I'm kind of curious. Make sure you have two of them. What about your other one? I know you had two. Maybe you just kind of blended a background like this. Kind of simple background with this image. No, you had to create that. I don't know. I'm intrigued. Let me know on your submission if you did this or if you found something like this. Your logo looks really good. Your colors are really good. Might be kind of fun to see a little bit of this red too, you know, tying the knot in red or something. Marriage saving tip in red. Play around with that a little bit. Your typefaces look good. There's not a ton of contrast. If you just, you know, you did this bold and italics, which I'm all right with, but it might be a little bit fun to have something even more contrasty going on. The only thing I'm struggling with a little bit is the placement of this versus this. Because remember the rule of thirds. So this isn't necessarily following the rule of thirds. It's kind of an awkward place between a third and a half. But then this is smushed over to the side, and this is occupying maybe the right little under a half. So if you could maybe move this a little bit more over, so it's right on that line of the thirds, and then these could exist in this space. That might allow for a little bit more white space and kind of visual flow between things, because it looks fine, but I think it could just look a little bit more intentional with where you place these. So that's kind of the main thing I'm thinking about when I look at your ad, as well as making sure you have two images, okay? So thanks, Annika. Hope you're feeling okay. All right. Let's see. I just have one more. Justin. Okay, you're a Band-Aid guy. Let me see if your other one is a little bit bigger. Yeah. Okay. So I like that you have the Band-Aid font. That's really good. I like your image, but she looks very, very mushed. Looks like somebody pushed on her little head and made her much wider than she's supposed to be. So you're probably going to need to fix that. So you're going to want to grab this bottom image and pull her down so she doesn't look like quite as squished of a little girl. Okay. The other thing is it'd be cool if you could take this Band-Aid and maybe make it a little bit bigger. Maybe try to make some of her hair go over it and cut this Band-Aid off with her hair so it doesn't look like you just photoshopped a Band-Aid on her, okay? So play around a little bit with maybe using a few different tools that could make that look a little bit more realistic and make it so she's not so smushed. And then here's your slogan. Make sure you don't have any orphans. We want to follow the same rules we did with our magazine spread where we don't have any lone words hanging out lonely by themselves. And then also you need to make sure you add a call to action. So purchase Band-Aids. Maybe you do purchase up here. Band-Aids, period, or something. Okay. And then in order to make this orphan go away, maybe you have two lines over here that are a lot shorter. All right. And I need to see some kind of contrasting typography. Right now you have everything in the same typeface and the same color, the same thickness. So add a contrasting typeface for some of these words or maybe for your purchase Band-Aids. And then make sure that there's a little bit more variety with these, okay? So I also don't see, so this is your slogan maybe? I'm just having trouble figuring out because you need to have your headline, body copy, and a call to action. So you definitely need to add in some more written words in here as well. so you can hit all 3 of those things. Okay? So heading in the right direction. It's definitely an eye-grabbing ad with this cute little girl, but just make sure that we are getting all those things that you need to for your minimum requirements. Okay? Thanks, Justin. And I think that's it for the night. We are all done. Hope you guys have a great night, and I am super excited to see your final drafts. Alrighty? Bye.